Slywka. He's been special. Number 8 has a way to make people move.
It's okay because they know that I come to do it.
First off, we haven't talked since the season. Have you had some time to reflect? An unbelievable career, 2-time Liberty League champ. What's it been post-college football?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy, surreal. Like, right when I got done and you kind of get around Christmas and all the kids start to go back for spring football and stuff, and everyone's reporting back. And, me and all the other guys that graduated, it's like a really surreal feeling. Like I was talking to them about, it's like all of a sudden now you kind of don't have anything to look forward to in that regard to get back with the team. So it's been kind of different in that way, but, it was a lot of training to prepare for the pro days. So that's kind of helped fill the time.
Yeah, speak on that training. What was the lead up to the pro day to get ready for everything that the pro day brings?
Yeah. So it was a lot of like very monotonous training. I actually just trained with my middle brother. I had a couple, obviously, Coach Fleet at Ithaca helped a little bit with some of the programs we had been doing there. And then Isaac Haddock had some stuff that he had used for when he was training for some pro day stuff. So like overall, like kind of put together a little 6-day plan, and it was kind of like, Groundhog Day, kind of do the same thing every week. It was monotonous, but it's rewarding when you kind of see like the results got to where they were. And I felt pretty confident going into it because of all the training. So, I can't complain.
Did you know that you were going to take part in a pro day right after the season, or was this a thought that you had maybe years prior?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was something like talking to Coach Turper, like, last spring, I was talking to him about like just having the aspirations for maybe wanting to do something, after college football. So, it was something that was in the back of my mind. Obviously, like I knew I had to have a good season, because if you don't have a great season, you're not really opening the doors to maybe do something after. So, it's kind of in the back of my mind. And then kind of after I got done with the season, it was like kind of continuing the conversation with Coach Terp was, me and him kind of trying to figure out where to find a home for a pro day, because obviously Ithaca doesn't do one. So it was like, it's kind of a lot of new stuff. I think we kind of learned a lot together, me and Coach Terp. So it was like I'm really grateful to have him, because he helped pretty much get the whole process, and was like, without him, I don't think it would have happened.
You were at U Buffalo and then Syracuse. What was it like on those pro days, walking into the facilities and knowing that this is really happening?
Yeah, I mean the first one at UB was definitely like the nerves were definitely up. There's like 16 NFL scouts there, 7 CFL scouts. So, it was kind of like, the nerves were going. It was really cool though. Like it's, as a competitor, it's like walking in, being around the other D1 guys and stuff, like it got the competitive flame in me going. So, I was really pumped. I was really excited. And, really my whole mindset was just to fall back kind of on the training, all the training you do, all the like, you rep things 1,000 times. So it's kind of like you just fall back onto the training. And that's something, we talk about at Ithaca football a lot, is just fall back on, the practice and all the stuff you do, like to prepare for a game. You fall to the level of your training. So
Throughout your training, what was the biggest advice that Coach Haddock, former Bomber, and then Coach Turper gave you coming into the pro days?
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's like, from like talking with them, but also just seeing a lot of like stuff online of guys that were preparing for theirs. Like there's a YouTube video of JC Horn preparing for his pro day, and just him talking with his trainer. It's just, again, just talking about like the discipline of the training, and like, so that when you show up there, like, yeah, the nerves are going, but you've done it. So there's nothing really to be nervous about in that regard. You're just nervous because it's good nerves. So that was kind of the biggest thing for me, is like knowing that staying disciplined in the training was the biggest thing to like allow me to know that I was going to have success when I did show up.
So a 4.5140, you had a 39-inch vert, which we'll talk about in a second, because when you compare that to some guys in the combine, that is a very good number. And then 4.51 for the shuttle as well. Out of all of those, what was the toughest one to train for coming in?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the 40 is its own animal, because you're really training like a track star. You're trying to really work a lot. For me as a bigger guy, is working on that first 10-yard split. So like working on the start, and you're doing a lot of plyometrics and stuff, a lot of running mechanics. So that was its own thing in itself. And then the rest of it's like the vert for me, actually, I wasn't that worried about, coming from a basketball background. A lot of that was just, kind of in the weight room doing more plyometric based training and really, kind of making, and it kind of all falls in together with that. And that, like with the broad jump, they're very similar, like as far as what the training needed to be for it is a lot of just working on jumping and doing a lot of like explosiveness training. So, and then, the 3 cone and the shuttle is kind of a very technique based thing, really making sure you're like, your steps and like knowing how to approach it and you're being the same every time. So I'm recording that and watching it back just like you'd watch film for football, like doing DB stuff.
When you left the pro day and you saw those numbers, because a 39-inch vert, compared to a lot of safeties, that's towards the top of that list. Those are impressive numbers. What did that tell you about your skill set? Did that give you even more confidence towards what you bring to the table?
Yeah, I mean, I think, training the numbers were around that. So like, I think I was expecting to do well. I was really happy with how I performed. I think it just keeps the door open. I think, my whole goal going into the pro days was to show my athleticism in front of like the NFL scouts, and then really put the ball in their court and really let them go back and watch my film and then have those numbers to be able to use to like know my athleticism. I think coming from Division 3, there's already going to be a little bit of a question mark behind like the level of the football compared to the D1 guys. So I think me and then even like Cole Burgess for Cortland, he had put up some pretty good numbers too, and I think that's good for everyone. I think it's kind of showing the athleticism of Division 3 is maybe not something to be slept on. I think just because there's the D3 tag on it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
What was that like too? Having that D3 label, you come into a spot like a pro day and everyone thinks, pro day of the NFL have to be at the Division 1 level. For guys like you, Cole Burgess, was there that extra chip on your shoulder coming in?
Yeah, I mean, I think, coming where I came from, like Waterloo, New York, like it's not like an area where people talk about football much, like as far as like having much people go play football in college and even being like a very good area for football. So I kind of always had a chip on my shoulder about like the way I carry myself, like because I don't think anyone really believed that it was possible. And I have 2 younger brothers, so we all kind of have that chip on our shoulder. And I think that I carry that into going to those pro days and just the way I think I trained for it was just going in there knowing that they're not going to think that, like I can't afford to have a bad day because there is no, like, they're not going to give me anything. So, I think carrying that chip on your shoulder is a really good thing. And I think, the D3 guys like showed up with those intentions. And I think it showed up.
Speaking on your two brothers, Noah and Kyle, and you guys all train, you play football together. What was this milestone like, not just for you, but the three of you guys hitting a spot like this?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, like being the oldest brother, like I really feel like the responsibility to kind of pave the way. So like my youngest brother Nolan, he couldn't come to the UB one because he was still at school, but he was at the Syracuse one. And my middle brother Kyle, he was at both. So I think just for them to be able to show up and see it and be able to be there and see what the D1 guys look like, with me also competing against them, I think it's a really big thing for them going forward because I think just them knowing what the process is like and being able to have me as someone they can talk about the process with, like, that's something I'm proud of. I think it's, even guys at Ithaca, like, I think, guys in the future now that maybe want to do this, like, there's already maybe a little bit more of a path paved. And they also have someone like Coach Chirp that already knows kind of how it works and maybe can talk to me about the training and that kind of different stuff. So I'm really proud of the fact that I performed well. And I hope, open some doors for other people behind me.
And for doors, when it includes you, what are your hopes in the coming months, the coming weeks? Where do you hope to see things go?
Yeah, I mean, I just want an opportunity. Honestly, that's kind of what I'm waiting for. It kind of doesn't really, there's not much I can do at this point. It kind of does fall onto like what the scouts really think. I think there's been progress made. I think there's been some pretty good discussions going on, and I think I definitely left the door open. So I'm not like gonna like kind of like guess maybe what will happen, but I just want to get an opportunity to show up to like a rookie mini camp and whatever regard that is, if that's a invite as an undrafted signed free agent, if it's drafted, whatever it is, like I just want an opportunity to go like show kind of what I can do. And then, that was my goal, is just to give myself a chance.
And you look back at your journey playing high school sports, you're at the JUCO level, you're playing basketball as well. You come to Ithaca, and now having these pro days and talking about what's ahead, those goals for you. When you look back, how special is this?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Like, I think obviously it's not done yet, and that's kind of my whole mindset. It's going to be kind of flipping the page now over to what's next. But I think, it's really cool because I'm really grateful because not many people maybe get the opportunity to do this, and I'm aware that you got to take advantage of when you do get those opportunities. So, I'm really grateful, and I'm like, I'm happy to be able to do it for Ithaca football. And that's kind of my whole mindset too, is like, I can't do much necessarily for the program as a player anymore, but like I can, do stuff now as kind of an alum and maybe playing football now and can kind of maybe help with, just guys that are interested in coming to play Ithaca football or, whatever in any way. So.
A great journey and a great start. And, we appreciate all you do, Derek. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.